and welcome back to Opally Hour and for supporting this channel. If you saw 91, you know what we've got coming up in issue 92, which is what we're going to be doing today. So a couple of things here. We have Juliet, my puppy, is going to be appearing, and she's cute as ever. And also I get to make a bucket from cardboard. Or do I? That is the question. See you in a mo. Alright, so number 92. If you saw 91, you know what's coming. We are building some walls with some stained glass windows, which they call it the bathhouse. I mean, it appears to me to be like a pier. Bathhouse, what would it be? The little room at the end is, do you think it's a bathhouse? Maybe it's where you're meant to change, you know, if you've got wet. Maybe that's why. Okay, I could be totally wrong on this. Alright, so what do we have? I haven't even looked at this. So animals of the Moomin Saga. So we've got some cats, we got some bats, we have some horses, some birds, a crocodile. Okay, looks like crocodile's on a lead. I wonder how much it likes that. I couldn't even imagine. And then we've got deep midwinter, so I wonder if they have a lot of snow. And Tiki, the winter guest, so it's all about that. And then we get into, I think, our building instructions. And like I say, at this time we will be dyeing again. Shouldn't have put the dye away from the last issue. And we will be making a bucket. Oh boy, okay, that's going to be fun. Alright, we will see what we can do on that. Alright, let's get everything. Well, actually I've got the pieces right here, so that's not so bad. So let's just put this on my little stand so I see my instructions. So these are our 4 walls, which have grooves at the top and bottom, and also slightly slanted on either side. So we have 4 of those. We have some frames. Oh, we have a lot of frames. Okay. We have trash. Then we have where we're going to put them to separate them. Interesting. There's a lot of these. What if we're using them all today? Or maybe we've got to hold on to them. Maybe we've got to hold on to some of it. And then we have the 3 pieces of plastic, which is very, very pretty. So interesting. So I mean, I can see that there's a design like this. I will have to see whether they alternate that or do it the same on all of them. Alrighty, so let me get everything put away and see what we actually need. In fact, we're going to be dyeing first, so I will get all the dye ready and get this done. It's probably all still quite wet from doing issue 91. So the thing to be careful of on this before I get any glue on is not to get any on this side. So you're just trying to get this side. I don't think we need to get the sides of these either. So like I say, I'm dyeing it. You could paint it. It's the same colour as the, I think the same ones as doing the roof, I want to say. I'll show you in a second. I can't recall, and because I don't paint it and I just do it this way, so I'm just trying to be a bit careful here not to get it over the edges. And the other nice thing about dye is you don't lose any like the pattern underneath. That's also what I find with the acrylic pens when I use them, which I'll be using for the buckets. Bucket. It doesn't matter if it goes a little bit over the edge, you just don't want it to go a lot. And then just dry it. Just go careful not to get any paint or dye, whichever you're doing, on the others. Right, I will go and get the rest of that done. So once those are dry, it doesn't take long. I left it way longer than I needed. What we're going to do is glue them together. It's going to be interesting how these take. Got to make sure that these line up, and obviously the ends line up. So you kind of don't want to get any glue I guess, where those creases are. So I put a bit at the end. And I didn't get any dye on the other side. Things are improving. I shouldn't say that too much. Normally bites me somewhere. So what I'm going to do is, whichever's going to be the middle, which is obviously going to be this one, so I'm getting wood glue on first, because it gives it a moment to start getting a little bit more ready, because I don't think this is going to be that. It's not going to be difficult, but it's not going to be easy. So I did look forward. We're not going to use any of those frames at all. So all of these frames we had, you put to one side. So we're going to have 6 frames over to do next time. And all we do is line it up. And like I say, propping this up is going to be the thing while you wait for wood glue to dry. Get a water bottle. And you want to make sure that the corners are all the way in as well. What can we find? Not the beacon, it's had a leak. Let's use tacky. The beacon's had a leak and it's got stuck in the container I keep it in. Which means the lid probably wasn't on proper. And just make sure it's all lined up as best you can. I wonder if there's a difference between top and bottom. I don't think so. Just this one looks slightly out of shape, mate. It's probably my eyes, normally is. And then just leave that to dry, which I won't be able to move it. So I'm going to clean up the wood glue that I can see on the inside. Can't do much about the outside right now. And we should hopefully have a product or a result. So let me move that to one side. So next what we're going to do is deal with the glass, and then we're on to our bucket. And I'll need to gather things for it anyway. So glass here. So they want you to use 0.5 double-sided tape. I'm not keen on the double-sided tape, so I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to just use a little bit of got some pink on there. Going to use a little bit of B7000. So what you want to do is, these do have notches from the mould, which are actually going to be probably really difficult to see. I find it difficult to see it by eye, but basically there's one side with a slight notch, like you might be able to see that one maybe, if the camera focuses, or not. Anyway, they have notches on, and you want the tape to go down there, so you have one bit of tape on both sides of this glass. Seems a bit overboard, doesn't it, really? I did check to make sure there's no protective glass on there, and there wasn't. So I think I've got a little bit left in this tube. So what I'm going to do is put a tiny amount in the middle here and make sure it doesn't run. And know it, I mean, it does dry clear. You just got to be careful with that type of glue. I mean, like I say, they say use double-sided tape, so it's not a me thing. And then try and get it right first hit. Or don't drop it. Okay, or don't get it right first hit and just put it everywhere. So this needs to go up a little bit so that it lines up somewhat with both sides and the top. Might help to get a ruler to make sure it's straight there, which I have to hand, and I can see it's not straight. Okay, I'm going to get that splodge of glue off that I put here. Alright, and I gave Puppy, I gave all the dogs actually, their treat balls. I don't know if you've ever seen them. While I'm doing the rest, I will show you a video, only a few seconds. Okay, those are all on one side. Going to let those dry for a minute, and then I will turn them over and put them on the other side. So I'm going to give that a moment to dry. Okay, so those are our windows done. I'm going to put those to one side to dry, and we can start. In fact, we won't be needing these, I don't know when actually. Anyway, we can start on our bucket. So you want to use some cardboard. I happen to have some which is two-sided, right on both sides. I don't know if that's necessary. They say to take a photocopy of this rather than cutting it out of the book, but on the back of the book was just that the walls were assembled, so I'm not too worried. If I suddenly think it's a problem, then I'll tape it back in. Anyway, and also some thin wire. I'm going to use silver wire. It doesn't really say what colour, so all I'm going to do is use beacon on my cardboard and let it set, and just paste it in the corners. I mean, this is going to be the most tricky part. This is where you're going to put holes in to put the wire through. So other than that, I don't think it'd be too tricky. Let me use my very leaky beacon right now and just make sure I don't get it everywhere. Let's get that to the light so I can position the glue effectively to do this. So I'll show you in a second. So I just cut out the whole square basically, and I'm going to pop it onto, get one in the middle, just below here I think. No, that doesn't look it. Oh, that here. I mean, if the paper goes with it, I don't think it's going to be the be on end all. It's a bucket. So that's what you need. You need some cardboard. Hopefully you keep your leftover projects somewhere rather than throwing them out every time, in which case then you'll have them, but you might also have cardboard anyway. It's just not something I particularly have. So before you cut it out, you are going to make pinpricks in the cardboard here in order to make this bucket, and you're also going to need something else. So that's for the bottom, that's the main part. This is the handles, and they want you to have something for the middle. Let me find out what that is. They're actually using gold coloured wire. Maybe I'm going to change to gold instead of silver. So the other piece you're going to need is a small piece of paper which you're going to put in the middle of a handle. So I found some very thin gold wire, again project leftovers. So we're going to use that. Need about 7 centimeters. They also say if you don't have it, then you can use, you know, the ties you have on to do food bags. You can strip them and take the plastic off and use those instead. So need about 7 centimeters long. Alright, oh, and the other thing I was going to show you, I forgot actually, was the colours used for that frame. It was this here. So that's the proportions they used for it. Alright, back to my bucket. So, I did actually 8 centimeters of wire rather than 7. I'd rather cut a bit off at the end than struggle. So then what you're going to do before you cut this out is put a hole through enough that you can get your wire through, and then cut it all out. So I will get and do that. So it'd be something like that. So I know I said about using that paper that I cut out of the book and just putting it back in. I forgot the fact that you're going to be using it to cut around, so it defeated the object really. So you're going to make a circle with your bucket and glue that together. I would measure roughly where your base is going to sit for your measurements, so that could be a bit bigger, but you could also trim it up after the event, so it kind of needs to be about there. So let's get your beacon, globby gloop. So what I've done was I put it upside down without the lid properly on. So if you've ever seen what it looked a bit like a volcano had come out of it, it went all in my little tray that I keep all my bits and pieces that I want to hand. So some bits I have put away because I don't use them all the time, but things like tweezers, maybe the odd like tiny screwdriver, I keep in there. So you know, do something like so, and then when that takes, which might take a minute, then you will. Did I even put glue on there? I'm not even sure I did. Doesn't look like I did. Let me try that again then. I thought I did. Guess it never quite came out. Probably running low now. Oh, it's all totally blocked. Yeah, I'll get that sorted. I think I got that fixed. Took a moment. Well, she says, there we go. I think it kind of got all a bit backed up in the older pipe there. Okay, and just doing another measure. And in fact, I'm going to scrape off some of this glue with the circle, and I will put the circle straight on. And we can make sure that it is lined up. Okay, it's going to take a moment to set. And we'll be back in a minute. Alright, while that is doing its thing, it's going to need a bit of trimming. I'm going to wrap this around your wire. I suggest you just roll it and poke the wire through. So I'm going to do that with tweezers, because you only need to do it 2 or 3 times, so just a small amount, and then wrap your wire around into it basically. Oh, my glues are really messing me up today. I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on the wire and on the end of the paper, and I'm going to get it on the wire and trim it. And it's probably just as easy that way than any other. And trim this off. Basically it's representing the handle. It's meant to be about 0.5 millimeters, 0.5 centimeters even. So this looks like it's a good 1 centimeter, but hey, maybe mine's only 3 or 4. Alright, then you're going to shape this, and they suggest you put this on before you paint it, but I think I'm going to wait. So I am going to stick on these little bucket handle things, and they go on the outside of your bucket, so I suggest doing it away from the seam. Oh, I've got this open now, I might as well use it. So I'm going to put one here. I mean, this will work fine on paper too, and one roughly the opposite direction, making sure that the little holes you made are towards the top. Then let that dry and paint it. I'm going to use acrylic paints, markers. I find those work pretty well, and they're roughly the same height. And then I'm going to put the metal into it, and you just thread it through and twist it basically. I'm going to do it that way once it's hardened up, and I'm going to trim in the base of here where it's not 100% sure. 100% sure. 100% on it. I know what I meant. Okay, so I'm going to give that a minute, and then we'll get it painted, and I will show you what it looks like. If I come up against anything in the meantime, I'll let you know. I've got to knot this now. Might have to redo the pins, they're probably going to have glue in them. like so. You just want it to be high enough that you can see your pins, and you'll be able to see it as a bucket. And then you paint it like a grey, so they want it to be like a old-fashioned old water bucket, basically, or bucket they say, but I guess it would more like to be a bucket rather than a water bucket. Can't speak, words fail me. And pop that up there. Okay, let's stop playing with it. Alright, I'm going to put it to one side and get it painted. Alright, so if you are doing the bucket, I would recommend painting it before, zoom you in a minute, painting it before you glue it. It would make much more sense, because paint or marker pens like I used aren't going to take as well on top of glue. So if you've got any glue, anyway, can't remember where I was, got interrupted, sorry. So I'm just trimming it a little bit, and then what you're going to do is so then what you're going to do is make your handle, basically round it at the top somewhat, and it's very weak wire, and poke it down so that you can thread it through your little holes, which hopefully are still holes at this point, and I doubt that they are. I don't think they are. So let's get those repunched. Make sure that goes all the way through. I don't think it did at all. And then it says cut off excess, I would suggest you wrap it around it. Okay, that's one. Let's put that one in and adjust it accordingly. Gosh, I can't see it now. Should have used a needle and thread, would have been easier. Not a thread, but used a needle and put the wire in the needle. Okay, and same with this one. And then get it to the right size basically, and twirl it around and then cut off the excess. They say glue it, I don't think it's that necessary to glue it. And obviously it's not going to be a big handle, but this is all about, so I'm assuming the bucket is going to go in the house. So what do you think, that sort of height? Probably around there. I'm assuming it's going to go in this, what they call the bathhouse, for like a sauna. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a sauna room, because on the very back page of after the instructions it talks all about good times, Finland, and okay, that's going to be glued back on then. Finland and saunas, so maybe that's why. Alright, let me get this done and tidied up. So what you end up with is this, which is okay. I mean, it's rustic. I did it with the silver marker. I mean, I just used shuttle art, and this one's a silver metallic, which I think is fine for the bucket. Maybe I should put some silver on the handle. I probably should. They kind of have their handle brown, but I'm thinking silver would be pretty cool, right? I guess I should do brown. Keep it authentic. Anyway, this is what I was talking about on the back. They have all about the home of the sauna. 3 types of finished, and they do have a bucket in there. So I'm guessing that's what they're making it after. So after, on issue rather, 92, we have done 3 windows with panes both sides. Don't know when we use those again. Maybe next time. And the first set of walls and a little bucket. So it's, I mean, you don't have to do the craft, they're always optional, but you know, if I can do them I will. If I think it's out of my league, then I won't. As I say, I suggest you do paint these before assembly. I think it would be better. although for a used look, I think it looks fine. Got silver all over me now where it came off. So for next time, I'm assuming, or at some point, we also have these 6 frames. So keep everything safe for now. And then with that, let's go see what we are doing next time. Let's see if it is going to be, where am I putting this bucket? There we go. If it is going to be the other wall, that would be handy, wouldn't it? Then we've done the roof, now we've done some walls, we've got the windows ready, we've got some frames. So 93 is, oh, we're putting in some windows in the main house and doing interior, exterior walls. So it looks like they have like a weathered look, so I'm guessing we're going to be doing something to do with that. So that's what we have coming in 93. So thank you very much for watching Moomin Build House Build. Words. Number 92. We only have, gosh, 18 left. I think it's 110 in total. So we are getting really close to the end. So they better speed up. We still have a lot to do. We still have all the windows to put in across all of it. We have the walls now to do with this bathhouse that I didn't know existed, which means we're probably going to have another 3 windows, I reckon, in here. Then the roof doesn't have any panelling on yet at all, so I'm guessing we're going to be doing that. And we're probably going to do panelling for the bathhouse for the roof, I would guess. Totally be my guess. So there we have it. So thank you very much, like I say, for watching. Hope you are enjoying the build if you're building along. Do appreciate you watching this in all my errors of my ways when I think I've got a good idea and I haven't, like 91. Do, like I say, put any comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can, or you can email me, which is at the end of the video. Please do like and subscribe, that really helps the channel massively to bring you more content. But most of all, do take care of yourself. I really appreciate you being along for the journey. Take care, bye bye.